Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Double Header with Amir Keenan and Keenan Costain. And before we start, we ask the question: Who remembers the 2012 AFC Championship game? The answer is in your future presentation. All right. Hey, so how's it been going?
And good, Amir. It's good to see you, and it's been a wild and crazy ride with you on this doubleheader podcast. And can't believe it's episode 6 already. And we are looking forward to talk about what we have to discuss today with Mr. Ray Rice and Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, this is very similar to Ray Caruth, the O.J. Simpson one, talking reporting the dark side of NFL, the scandals, and this one, in the case of this one we saw in real time because we saw their rise to fame and then their fall from grace unfold in real time.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Oh, yes, we are. So, do you remember the 2012 AFC Championship game, Keenan?
I do a little bit. It was a good time for me as a Panthers fan. Panthers were doing well, and there was a lot going on during that season. So I definitely remember some moments from that season and from what we're going to talk about for sure.
And I remember the 2012 season too. And I know the Panthers, they had got to a slow start, but then finished strong. The Colts made the playoffs, as did the Ravens and the Patriots, and just to name a few of the teams that made it that year. But now we go to Foxborough, Massachusetts, and it's a rematch of the 2011 AFC Championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots. So, of course, Baltimore fell short the year before, but extracted revenge the year later at Gillette with beating Patriots 20-13 and outscoring them 21 to nothing in the second half. So, Baltimore's on the day, it's going to New Orleans for Super Bowl 47, whereas New England's going to be sent home wondering what if. But for the subject of this episode, we're focusing on these guys right here, Ray Rice and Aaron Hernandez, who about a year from this time they will be in the headlines, but not for the reasons you may think. And we begin with number 81, Aaron Hernandez. So does that name ring a bell?
Absolutely, absolutely, no question about it. Patriots star, I believe, tight end slash wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken.
Tight end. I mean, I can see why people would think receiving because by this point, tight ends are now, more involved in the offensive packages. And back in the day, we used more for blocking, but now they're catch more used for receiving, and that's why a lot of records were being broken around this time. And Hernandez formed a great duo with Rob Gronkowski, and of course he is so you're right on that, but unfortunately, that's not what you remember when you think of the name Aaron Hernandez. His career in the NFL is probably not the person that comes to mind. But before we get into that, we're going to start off in childhood in Bristol, Connecticut. That sounds familiar.
Hmm. Mhm.
So I'm going to show some pictures here. You got, what do you think it is?
Ah, okay. Some interesting pictures of him being an athlete and just having a good time with some of his family members. What could go wrong, right?
You're right. What could go wrong? Because look at here. He's the captain of the football team, plays basketball. He runs track and field at in high s- or yeah in high school. And of course, Bristol, Connecticut, being home to ESPN, what a better way to start your sports career. And you had this guy right here, Mr. Dennis Hernandez Sr. He played sports at UConn. So of course he wanted his sons to drive in sport, that being Aaron and Dennis Jr. And of course, you had the mother, Miss Terry Valentine, who was there to support her sons as well throughout this process. So definitely what can go wrong, right? Well, got some foreshadowing here, and I'm gonna upload some images and want you to see what you make out of these, Keenan.
Hmm. The a protect them all symbol, a like, is the hospital or rehab center, um, cuffs and some cuffs, and yeah, that's what I can picture out, and a lot of $100 bills I see.
Well, let's just say when we said it looks good on the surface, well, you'd be right. Behind the scenes, it was dark. So this symbol here is the symbol for child abuse to protect children from abuse from their parents. And while Dennis was very supportive of his children's athletic career, he can get um he can get very abusive towards Aaron and Dennis, which involved beatings. At one point, he showed up to practice with a black eye. And another occasion, Dennis actually got into an altercation with his head coach over coaching methods. And when he wasn't involved in sports, Dennis was unfortunately had a criminal history as well. He got popped for let me see if I have notes here on it. Yeah, he got arrested for breach of peace in 1989, which is why you have the peace symbol here with the X over it. And he got charged with marijuana possession a year later. And this is when Aaron was barely a year old, so not to a good start there. And as for this, we got for the money and the phone that's being wiretapped. His mother Terry was involved in a gambling ring where she was been making bets over the phone, and then unfortunately the law enforcement wiretapped Hernandez's phone, found out she was a part of that, and then they arrested her, but she wasn't charged for that incident. But just not wasn't a good look. So now you're betting on sports and possibly on your children, which is not a good sight. And for this hospital here, Bristol Hospital, Dennis was undergoing hernia surgery in 2006, but unfortunately did not survive the surgery, which last seen had a lukewarm impact on Mr. Hernandez, who Aaron for that matter, 'cause at the funeral, according to people who were there, he was didn't shed a tear, showed little to no emotion, but still kept his father in his memory because he would later get some tattoos since this building right here in honor of his father, just to keep his memory alive. But starting to see that we got some dark history with the Hernandezes.
Right, and, real quick, did that hospital have a rehab center as well, the one that's pictured there?
I'm not sure. I think that was more for like surgeries and trauma because he was going in for hernia. I mean, I just know that's the hospital where he had to get the surgery done, but that's also where he passed away. So,
Okay, okay, I just wanted to make sure, folks, if that was a rehab center or mainly a hospital building, because hospitals do have, uh, rehab facilities, in those types of buildings, so I just wanted to make sure before we move on.
and just to keep getting back to that, Dennis passed away while Aaron was in high school. And some say that had his absence later on could have played a factor in Aaron's behavior. So with that being said, we'll move on to the Sunshine State. What do you make of these?
Okay, things are looking better. Uh, Santa Fe, uh, holding up the Heisman, one of the Heisman trophies.
Actually, that's the national championship trophy.
Right, the
And
national champion. Sorry, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, the reason why we have,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm
So
good.
yeah, the reason why we see Santa Fe, so while Aaron was a big star in sports in high school, didn't make the grades, so we had him take some remedial courses at Santa Fe. And once he was done there, transferred to University of Florida, aka the Swamp, where he played 3 seasons for the Florida Gators, scored scored 12 touchdowns while catching 111 passes for 1,382 yards in 3 seasons. His best coming in 2009, when he caught 68 passes for 850 and 5 touchdowns. And best of all, won a championship ring in 2008 when they beat the Oklahoma Sooners in the 2009 BCS championship game. So, like you said before, things are looking up for Mr. Hernandez. He got the ring during college, making the grades, and he should be a top prospect for the NFL. Or is it? I see trouble in the swamp. What's going on here?
Well,
He's
ooh,
got
okay.
some drinks. Got a bill. See a change, some teammates. Some guy fist bumping his daughter. Hmm. What's trying to understand what's the trouble here, is Keenan?
Hmm. A little, I wouldn't say miscommunication, but, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like, unforeseen circumstances. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I'm looking through my notes now. I know what's going on. There was 2 incidents at Florida that hurt his draft stock. So we'll begin with these pictures right here in 2007. So you might reckon me familiar with the name Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Tim Tebow, Florida college quarterback, played a couple years in the NFL, maybe.
Oh yeah, well, he and Hernandez were teammates, and like teammates do, they hang out off the field. And being that it's Florida, they're gonna have 20 police to hang out like the swamp on their on campus bar. And we're at the bar, have a few drinks. Well, sure enough, they did that night in September 2007. And of course, when you get done with your time at the bar, you got to pay the bill. But unfortunately, Hernandez didn't pay the bill or refused to pay the bill. One of the waiters there said, "You got to pay this bill, sir," and he refused. And as the waiter went back inside, Hernandez sucker punched him in the head and ruptured his eardrum. And that, of course, is going to press charges because he just got assaulted. But shown by this red circle, the cross, no charges were pressed. So we got away with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not good. If he can get away with that, then I don't know what to say when it comes to that story, or at
Well,
least that part.
unfortunately, it wasn't done causing trouble in Florida. Excuse me, that was April 2007 when this happened. Now we fast forward to September, and there's 3 guys by the name of Randall Kaysen, Corey Smith, and Jason Glass. Right, they just came from the nightclub, the Florida Crown, or I mean, the Florida Theater right here, and they're on their way. They're at the stoplight. All of a sudden, Victoria Ford Crown pulls alongside, and 4 shots are fired. And one of them, according to here, Kaysen, he doesn't get hit, but Smith is hit in the head, and Glass is hitting the arm. And amazingly, they survive, which is good because now they can tell who the shooters were, and they said that matched the description of these 3 guys, Mark and Mark, Mike and Marquise Pouncey, and Reggie Nelson of the Florida Gators, who were just so happened to be at that nightclub that night with Aaron Hernandez, being the alleged
Mm,
shooter in this.
okay,
And
okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're okay. I mean, especially Smith, he took a shot the bullet to the head and at close range
Oh,
too. But
dang.
what's led to this was, and it's not the exact chain, but during their time there, they Smith snatched his Aaron Hernandez's chain off his neck, and Aaron didn't like that, so he had to think of some way to get back at him. So why not shoot him? Well, okay. Well, we're following the story here. All four parties deny that they did it. And with that, no charge were pressed, no court date, nothing. So we've had two incidents in Florida, span of 5 months, same guy, no charges.
Yeah, like I said earlier about the first incident, you know, I mean, you might got away with once, but I was like, there's no way, right? And like you just said, Amir, like just to have two charges like that is just mind-boggling, in that sort of circumstance.
Yeah, but just when he thought it could, but just when he thought things couldn't get worse, or he couldn't stop causing trouble, well, as an athlete, well, this is before the whole paying athletes thing started becoming a thing. Well, yeah, you get access. Florida is grows a lot of plants, and he had access to marijuana. And well, when you're on the football team, you don't want to put any substances that are not good for your body or deemed illegal by these guys, the NCAA, because they crack down hard on that stuff.
Hmm. Yep.
Sure enough, of course, he was smoking marijuana off the field, and even admitted this in one of the interviews. And that, and along with the two incidents I brought up, would hurt his draft stock in 2010. So so Aaron's causing some trouble, but sure enough, he's gonna clean it up when he gets to the pros, right?
I would hope so, right? So,
Yep. So with that being said, let's move on to this slide. Foxborough, Massachusetts. That sounds familiar. Who plays
yeah, it
there,
sure does.
Keenan?
Some team called or named the New England Patriots.
You are correct. So, of course, drafted 113 overall in the fourth round out of Florida in 2010 by the Patriots. Plays for 3 seasons for the team. His best coming in his sophomore year, where he catches 79 passes for 910 yards and scored 7 touchdowns, helping the Patriots reach the Super Bowl. And even scored a touchdown in that said Super Bowl against the Giants. Fortunately, they would come up short in that Super Bowl, which I remember seeing that in real time.
Yeah, and we talked about that Super Bowl before in our 2004 draft class back on episode 2, I believe. So,
Yes,
yeah,
we did.
definitely I would definitely check that out if you guys haven't already. So, I'll put a link in the description box below, and I'll put the card in the upper right-hand corner if you want to check that out.
Definitely. So, of course, 2 seasons are under his belt. Part of a winning organization. They've won 27 games. They made a Super Bowl first 2 seasons. And wow, what do we have here, Kenan?
A contract with millions and millions of dollars. Wow.
Yeah, how much was that contract? And got a nice mansion, and oh yeah, got a young, lovely young lady and a kid. Okay, what we got here?
Good looking good looking family there.
Yeah, if he signed, if I, now where did I put that? I'm a bit disorganized here. I thought I had it written down somewhere. Uh, let's see here. Ah, here it is. So, of course, in August of that year, he signed a 5-year, $39.58 million contract, which included 15.95 million guaranteed and a $12.50 signing bonus. And sure enough, if you make that money, you're going to purchase a big mansion because why the heck not? Purchase a mansion in North Alberto, Al Altoboro, which is not far from Gillette Stadium. And I want you to remember this house later on in the video because it's going to play a big key in that. And at the same time, a few months later, get engaged to Jana Jenkins, excuse me, and welcome in the daughter. Aveline. So, hey, make some money, buy a new house, get engaged, welcome in a child. Things are looking up again for Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah, definitely.
Or is it?
Ooh, more trouble in New England and Miami, Florida. Amir, Miami, Florida. What happened here? We're back in the Florida in the Sunshine State.
Oh, yeah. And, well, if you never keep in mind Florida, there's a best place to do go on vacation, go to parties and stuff. Then again, Boston has its fair share of nightclubs too. Speaking of nightclubs, we got some surveillance, some footage, a guy with some stains on his shirt, a car with the Hernandez jersey in front, and then we got two guys here, and we have a police tape and a car. Okay, what do you make of these, Keenan?
Something tells me something really went wrong. And going back to his two other altercations, you know, something's bound to happen this time, right? Right?
Oh, unfortunately. So in between the Super Bowl appearance and signing that contract, in the summer of that year, Hernandez is at another nightclub, the Cure Lounge, you see right here. Was partying with some of his friends, and then all of a sudden, a guy by the name of Daniel De Abreu, this guy right here, bumps into him and unfortunately spills his drink onto his shirt. And that doesn't sit well with Hernandez because, hey, I'm an NFL athlete. You spilled your drink on me. Better apologize or pay up. Well, fortunately, it was the latter. Uh, as a case of deja vu, De Abreu and Furtado are on their way home with the guy by the name of Sanchez. They're at a stoplight again. All of a sudden, a Toyota pulls up and five shots ring out. Boom, 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 boom. While Sanchez survives, Hurtado and De Abreu do not. They are killed at the scene. So yeah, and sure enough, the car, the Toyota, is owned by none other than Aaron Hernandez. But of course, if we're following the pattern here, no discipline's charged. No disciplinary action, excuse me.
Wow, nothing? Absolutely nothing?
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, it's like, what's going on here? This guy, well, I know why he allegedly did it, because after the person fires the shots, the car drives into the night and is never seen again. But it comes under his name because why the heck not? 'Cause it was under according to surveillance, the car of that same model was seen pulling out from the nightclub. So, okay, so Aaron's at it, doing some trouble brewing in New England. So what about Miami, Florida? Wonder what's going on there. That's where this guy comes in, Mr. Alexander Bradley, and don't look right here, Keenan.
Yeah, it looks like he got beat up a bit. Right?
Well, beat up, no, but
Oh,
Aaron gave him a piece of his mind. Now we got to fast forward 7 months later. He's at a Miami nightclub with Mr. Bradley. They're considered friends, but things are not. They're having a falling out. Unfortunately, Hernandez is allegedly getting involved in some drug deals and he also has some trouble with the law. And soon enough, that's going to come out. And he feels like, okay, if this comes out, my NFL career is over. And this guy might be Alexander, being my closest friend, might rat me out. So the next morning, Alexander wakes up and he sees his friend pointing a gun at him. Imagine waking up to that.
yeah, definitely. Definitely a scary thought. for sure. Just to be waking up and all you see is your best friend or even colleague with a gun in his hand, and you're like, and the first thing you're on your mind is like, whoa, 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 like what the heck, what the heck, like what's going on?
Yeah, and then sure enough, Hernandez pulls the trigger, hits Bradley in the head, and he survives. Well, we had two people shot in the head, and they somehow survived. I don't know how that.
Yeah, that still doesn't doesn't really compute with my brain right now. But wow, just to hear that is thank goodness. Oh my goodness, that could have been. Whew, he got lucky, or they
Yeah,
or they both did. Excuse me.
yeah, and then it wasn't until the following morning that he was found by police at a Miami, Florida parking lot, and he took him to the hospital where they were able to revive him, and that survival will prove essential in say in a few years because I mean, even though Alexander Bradley is known now as a result of that shooting has can't use can no longer use his right eye, but either way. So we've had what is this now? Four instances with Hernandez and no discipline. Nothing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely for something maybe later down the road, something's gotta happen to this guy. Like he didn't even get arrested by anybody, didn't even get called by anybody, or he did get called out, but
Mhm.
it just didn't lead to, like you said, discipline by the law, and it's mind-boggling that like this famous athlete can get away with it. And like, and again, and like I said with Jesse Omen in an earlier episode, like no matter if you're a musician or athlete, you gotta suffer the consequences. And this guy hasn't, like it's mind boggling to me.
And keep in mind, he's playing for the New England Patriots, coached by Bill Belichick, who has this thing called the Patriot Way. And the Patriot Way means you better not get in trouble off the field, otherwise it's you're gone. And ironically, they're the team that took a risk on him because there was obviously the incidents in Florida, the drug stuff, and what have you. But of course, all that's been swept under the rug. And with that being said, we'll move on to the 2012 season. And, well, regression from 2011, 'cause he missed 6 games due to ankle injury, caught 51 passes for 483 yards, and scored 5 touchdowns. Made it all, Hernandez and the Patriots made it back to the AFC Championship game, but unfortunately fell to the Baltimore Ravens. He did catch 9 passes for 83 yards. So, okay, season ends on a disappointing note, but of course, as always, next year, or is it? Uh,
Ah, here we go. Oh, this is what I've been waiting for. So,
yeah, unfortunately, with Patriot fans and well, everyone didn't know at the time is that 2012 AFC Championship game will be the last time Aaron Hernandez would suit up in the NFL because later that summer, this man enters the picture, Odin Lloyd. Are you familiar with that name, Ken?
uh, not really. And before we move on, folks, I do know some of the story when it comes to Aaron Hernandez. Excuse me, Aaron Hernandez, his story, but I don't know the full story and tell. So Amir, I give you a big round of applause for putting this together, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and this is getting back to Mr. Odin Lloyd. I'm going to show some pictures here and just to give an idea who he is. Once you make these out.
Let's see. Uh, yep. um, I can't really. bring these out, Amir. So if you mind to explain what these are.
All right, so St. Croix, if I'm saying that correctly, that's an U.S. Virgin Island where he was born in November 18, 1985. Grew up in the Dorchester area, Virginia. Went to Delaware State University, but unfortunately, due to financial issues, didn't complete his his degree. So he came back to Dorchester to earn some money as an electrician and landscaper, just to name a few. And then in 2007, joined the Boston Bandits, a local semi-pro football team in Massachusetts. Played linebacker for the team for 6 seasons. And then in the summer of 2012, meets this guy by the name of Aaron Hernandez, and shortly thereafter, begins dating Shayla Jenkins, who is the sister of Shania Jenkins, Aaron Hernandez's fiance.
Oh wow! What a twist!
What a twist!
Yeah. So I went, and also getting back to this, so getting due to his financial woes, he can't pay for a lot of his football gear or have transportation to get to practice. So Hernandez lends him his car, so he can get to practice and all that and get around town. But on the surface, it looks like, hey, not a friendship. What is it? Hmm. So now we enter June 2013, and we got another nightclub. Man, this guy knows how to get around the town, Keenan.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're back at it again at another nightclub. So what happens this time?
Okay, so I pull up more pictures, and we got some more surveillance. We got a industrial park, some view from Google Maps, and Fernandez, you're being escorted by authorities. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. So,
like I said, I'm definitely. He finally he finally understands what's going on here, and I'm glad something's coming down. And
right.
there's more to this story. I'm assuming. So I'll let you take over, Amir.
But you're right about that, and it was just there is so much to dive in here. But so again, we begin at another nightclub called the Rumor Nightclub in Boston, now called the Icon. Which is now that club's no longer around or operation. So that night, a familiar story. Hernandez gets into another argument, this time with Lloyd. Now, what the argument was about, it varies on the witness. Some say it was over drugs. Some say it's about, his Shayla and Shania. It was maybe exposing him or something, or not paying his debts, something like that. Either way, Lloyd wrote pissed Aaron Hernandez off, and once again, Aaron Hernandez is looking for revenge. So we move. Now we fast forward to June 17th. So Lloyd's getting some text messages from Hernandez saying to meet him at a certain place, and also has an entourage by the name of, if I can remember these guys' name, Tease and where are you? And Wallace. So they're going to be, of course, going to meet up. They got to discuss some things. I don't know what it is, or excuse me, I know what it is, but of course, if you're following along again, Hernandez is out in the town going to bars, rings up like a $243 bill at one of them. Then later that night, he's caught on surveillance at a gas station dancing like it's caught dancing on film, which I very odd to see people dancing at a gas station. It's not odd to see them buy stuff, say, I don't know, a cigar and some package of gum, right?
Oh, he looked like he's partying like it's 1999. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. So shortly after they fill up the car, a rental car, they go to Lloyd's place, pick him up around 2:30 a.m. And at around this time, Lloyd's texting his sister saying I'm with NFL, meaning Hernandez, and you know who excuse me, and says, "Oh, just so you know," that's his follow up. And then sometime afterwards, they pull up to this industrial park not far from Hernandez's house, and then honking out the car, Hernandez fires 6 shots into Lloyd, and these proved to be fatal as they struck him in the heart, the lung, his rib, and entered out of the muscle in his back. And after Lloyd falls to the ground, Hernandez and his entourage return home to his house, his big mansion that I showed a few slides earlier. And well, hey, they're feeling good about themselves, but unfortunately, this house has surveillance, and one of the cameras shows that this Hernandez with the gun in his hands, a 45 caliber, and that would come into play a few days later because a jogger, he's out in the town doing some jogging, and he recognizes a guy lying dead in this industrial park, and he phones the police saying, "Hey, I see there's a guy here dead on the ground, and we need some help." Sure enough, when they get there, police start to see they see shotgun shells, some some gum on the ground, and and a not a joint, and a cigar. And sure enough, they take it back to their headquarters, run the DNA, and guess what pops up in the system again? This man. Uh-oh. I think your time's coming, Aaron. Do you agree with that, Keenan?
Absolutely, like I said, finally something happened to this guy, and after all this time, after all these years, you know, finally karma has finally caught up to him.
Well, you'd be right, and 'cause they execute the search warrant and they find more evidence, and then sure enough, June 26, 2013, the authorities come tell Mr. Hernandez, put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest, and take him off to jail. So Hernandez's time in the spotlight is coming to an end. So I'll ask this: where were you when all this went down, Keenan?
Well, I was at excuse me, I was getting ready to go into sophomore year of high school. In June of 2013, I was getting ready for my sophomore year of high school, and I believe I saw this on ESPN about Aaron Hernandez, and I saw the news that Aaron Hernandez, Patriot star, arrested, and yeah, that's where I got the news.
Yeah, for me, I learned of this on NFL Networks. My dad and I just got it less than a year earlier when they made it like distributed nationwide, regardless of what your TV package was. And the image that's forever stuck in my brain is the authorities escorting Hernandez out of his mansion, and I just knew right then and there. It's like, yep, it's over.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, we all know. I mean, like we say, we all know what happened to Hernandez, and everybody knows the story about like how like the arrestment that took place, but everything before that, I didn't really know about. So to end off the story, or to continue off the story, what happens next?
Well, there was a big fallout, so and I remember this as well. It's just well, look at this. So make you make
Jersey sales, uh, Florida Gator sign, um, contract. Oh, all of his endorsements are no more. If I had to take a wild guess.
well, you are right. Let's see. Yeah, so Shortly after news of his arrest and during the investigation, once people like NFL, the Patriots, and Florida University got word of it, they scraped his image like that. So you had a Hernandez jersey, you can take it to the pro shop. And I remember this. I remember this one. I remember they were showing people lining up outside Gillette Stadium, exchanging their Hernandez jerseys for Tom Brady, Gronkowski, Mayo, Jones, Steven, and Vince, just to name a few. So they did jersey exchange. Florida, he had a All-American plaque. They got rid of that. And this picture here, this is from his rookie season. He scored a winning touchdown against the Green Bay Packers, and that was like one of the photos that they displayed on in their Hall of Fame. They took that down. And then for these two endorsements, Muscle Milk and Crypto Sports, or no, it was Puma, excuse me. Yep, they cut ties with him too. And as for that contract, terminated as well. So you lost. So your playing career is done. Your college has cut ties with you. No more endorsements. And that wonderful mansion, not gonna be living in that one anymore. Gonna exchange up for a jail cell. So talk about a fall from grace.
Yeah, definitely. Just to see, he was on top of the world at one point and got away with these things. And like I said, I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Karma came back to bite him, and off the jail he went.
Yeah, and then also get back to the Patriots. That of course they of course released him, put him on waivers because he hadn't even he only completed his third season. But of course, he didn't clear waivers because of the ongoing investigation and subsequent arrest. But that being said, yep, no more time in Foxborough either. So Hernandez was cut, and got to go to the trials. Ah, finally, a court date for this guy. What do you predict for him, Keenan?
Uh, Definitely he is pleaded guilty with charges, and he'll definitely pay a huge fine, and definitely will be sentenced for a long, long time. If he was able to get away with all the things he was able to get away with. So that's my prediction.
Well, you'd be right, at least half right. So, of course, we got to toward. He, keep in mind, he was involved in not one but three incidents: the Odin Lloyd, the Florida shooting, the Bradley shooting, and then the what was the other shooting? I'm leaving out. I'm leaving out the shooting somewhere. Oh yeah, the one in Plainville, Massachusetts. So of course he gets tried for the Odin Lloyd one, 'cause, that was the most recent one in April 2015. He's tried, charged with first degree murder. No surprise there, 'cause the evidence didn't lie. Of course, they found his tire tracks, footprints, which I should have mentioned earlier, the gum at the scene, and the shotgun casings. Well, they didn't find the gun. There were fingerprints on the bullets and shell casings, so they were able to trace that. So he's going to prison for rest of his life for that charge. But then this man enters the picture, Mr. Bradley. So remember he was the incident in 2013 with him being shot, right?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yep.
So of course I told you that there's Aaron was feeling a bit paranoid that his past might get exposed, and or Bradley would expose his past and of course ruin his image. Well, reason for that because Bradley just so happened to be with Hernandez the night that Hurtado and Mayor Brew were shot and killed by none other than Mr. Hernandez himself. So of course he was brought on the witness stand to say, yeah, he did it. He told him he would do it. And then also at the same time, it's also got to be put on the stand. Taylor
Is that
Jenkins.
his? Yeah, yeah. I was about to say, yeah. And say that name again.
Shayla Jenkins, the
Okay.
girlfriend of Odin Lloyd, Then I'm going back to Odin Lloyd, and reason why I bring that up because now, and she was the girlfriend of Odin, and she's the sister of Aaron Hernandez's fiance. Unfortunately, they're going to be divided about who's guilty and who's innocent. And just needless to say, they sisters were close prior to this trial, but then they grew apart afterwards. Speaking of Cheyenne and Eveline, look at this picture right here.
Let's see. That's that's his kids, isn't it?
Yep. So yeah, and being in her shoes, Eveline.
I can't imagine for sure. And just to see the expression on the daughter's face that she must have understand what's taking place here, and I feel kind of bad for her.
Yeah, 'cause she's at this time. Now we're going to 2017. She's now being tried for the Deabru and Furtado murders. She's now 4 years old, and her father's been in court twice, and rightfully so. And now she's got to hear that her father was once a revered athlete, now turned criminal. But also, it's this. And I don't know what's going on here with my this thing. But look at this picture. His facial expressions here. Just what do you make of these?
Yeah, just to put it, just to put it um ju- just to put it bluntly or quickly here, definitely not happy. Definitely kind of ashamed, frightened, and scared is the three words I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, weird thing is like when people say, after he got arrested and went to trial and everything, he was like, he said he was confident that he wouldn't face the consequences. You know, he thought he would get away with it. Well, and to an extent, he did in case of the Furtado de Abreu murders. So this is why I circle this picture here. It looks like he's upset that he got caught, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Get this. Here's the twist. He was not charged
What?
for those murders.
You what? He was not charged for any of those murders that happened,
Well, he was
and
charged for the Lloyd one, but not charged for the
okay.
Deaver one. Yeah. So
Okay, so he was charged for what year was that? The one
for
he got charged for?
the 2012 one with Deaver and
Oh, okay.
Furtado. I
Okay,
didn't get
yeah,
charged
I
with
just
that one.
wanted yeah. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, I had that in my brain correctly. So man,
Yeah.
he got charged for one for one of them instead of all of them?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the families of Furtado and Deaver were caught off guard by that. I think even Owen Lloyd's family was like, wait a minute, he's charged with killing our son, but not these guys? Hey, something not adding up.
No, no, I'm outraged by that. I am totally outraged.
Yeah, and given they had the witness, Alexander Bradley, and there was plenty of evidence there just to convict him. Oh, wait, of course, someone can be admissible in court because, court has all these, things with evidence and stuff. And not to mention Bradley, he's not a reliable one either because he's had a criminal history as well. So it's like, okay, not enough evidence, can't find reliable witnesses. So we'll just have to he ain't getting out of jail or prison anyway, so we'll just charge him with Lloyd and just move on from the Deabru and Furtado one. I mean, somewhere around those lines. And that court case ended on April 14, 2017. And of course, it's just like he's in tears, but it's like in this case, he's in tears, like relief, like I didn't get caught and everything's fine on the surface. And that's why I was pointing out these pictures, because there's one thing I remember from his career is his facial expression. It's like you couldn't tell on the surface. It just looks calm and cool on the surface, but I feel like there's something going on behind the scenes. I'm not sure you caught that too, Keenan.
Yeah, I I I just can't believe it. To- I must have forgotten about this part and about the trial, and I can't believe it lasted this long. And to think we were both in college when this took place in 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. 'Cause I know when he got charged for the Olden Lloyd one, we were that was our junior year of high school, and then when this trial happened with Furtado and their brew, we were freshmen in college. And that's the
Right.
thing with court
Yeah.
cases; they can just, and especially in his case, he had two charges, so these cases can drag on forever. You know, they're trying to find witnesses, evidence, and what have you, and stuff, and so either way, all came to an end. So he's gonna spend the rest of his days in prison. Not sure what's going on here. So here he is at the get this prison right. Here it is. Sousa Baranowski Correctional Center in where is that at? And Shirley, Massachusetts. That's where he was housed after, the rest of his days. And even in prison, the guy still didn't get the message. Like, you're in prison, so you can't, no TV, no privileges, what have you. But of course, this being Hernandez, he tries to, cut corners. He, you know, took one of a cellmate's card and tried to make a cell phone call, which was illegal, or against the rules, excuse me. Got in several fights with inmates, and even barred the guards from coming into his jail cell. And from what I read, he racked up a combined total of 99 disciplinary charges from in prison, from the one correctional center here in Shelby, and then the Boston jail, and when he was waiting his trial for Olden Lloyd. So it's just like the guy just doesn't learn his lesson.
Yeah, no, no, he does not, and that's why I'm outraged when it comes to this sort of thing. You know, he should have gotten more when it came to all that, but it just blows my mind just to hear what he has done, and I'm lost for words when it comes to this, folks. But yeah, I don't know what to say. So yeah, I'm lost.
Yeah, and then this his behavior in court, like I said, just came across like he was confident. He wouldn't get charged. He got charged with Lloyd once. He's going to serve a life sentence without parole for that. But of course, had he been charged with the day of Brew and Furtado one, that would have been consecutive life sentences without parole. Because then three people were killed and two murder charges. And which brings us to this date right here, April 25th, 2017. So week after he gets he's acquitted of the murders of 2012 with Diego and Furtado. The guards once again do a prison check under his or cell check under Aaron Hernandez's cell check, and they can't get in because he's so they had to get extra help to pry the door open. And what they find is Mr. Hernandez is hanging from his bed sheets from his jail cell, and they take him to the hospital right here, UMass Hospital, and where he's pronounced dead. But that's not where the story ends. So in his jail cell, they find the name Illuminati on his paint written on the walls, the Bible open to the 316 passage, and the same passage written on his head in blood, and shampoo all over the ground, and also a note to his daughter and fiance saying they're rich. What do you make of all that?
Uh, wow. Uh, just to hear this side of the story, like I knew that he passed away, but I just forgot how it all transpired, and I didn't do research onto this part per se, but when it comes to his family being rich, like what does that mean? Benefits, profits, or
Well, I know that he had probably some money left over. Well, that's I know when he left the court the day week earlier, he blew a kiss to them saying that everything's going to be all right. And also this statement here, Abiment, Ebedi in Nito. I don't know how to pronounce that. Do the best I could, folks. But that was a legal doctrine that vacated convictions if the defendant dies before the subject appeals are exhausted. Basically, they're free of any like all their past crimes are exonerated. Of course, not from saying anything, but because he's even though he got exonerated of one crime, he's still paying the price for another one. And since so that answers why you see the rich word or picture here. Do hey, my wife, fiance and daughter may not have me around, but they'll have plenty of money to live off of. He played in the NFL for 3 seasons and signed a contract going to what will be his last season, but of course that contract got terminated, so they weren't going to be seeing money from that or anything else because of course he's not making any money in prison. But just wrap things up, it was just a pattern of like it looks good on the surface, dark clouds looming, and then finally karma came back to bite him.
yeah, definitely. And then I was doing a quick Google search while you were talking about Hernandez. Yes, and it was just to see how young he passed away too is also mind boggling in itself as well. So
Yeah, died at the age of 27, and yeah, and in between his arrest and death, the Patriots went to two Super Bowls, or excuse me, won two Super Bowls, and so he missed out on that. And on the day of his death, lo and behold, they're at the White House celebrating their most recent championship. Well, look what he missed out on because of his behavior.
yeah, he could have been celebrating with the Patriots and celebrating another Super Bowl and be at the White House and still competing at a high level. And like you said, his career was short live it live in, but um and and overall a pretty solid career by Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah, like I said, in 3 seasons, he makes the AFC Championship game 3 times, plays in the Super Bowl. I mean, should have made a Pro Bowl a second year, but and again, he's playing for the best team in the NFL at the time, the Patriots. But just unfortunately, to a lot of trouble behind the scenes, and that fortunately caught up to him in the summer of 2013.
Yep. So that's that.
Yeah, it's still no, this was a long one, but it just there was just out of all the ones I've done so far, this one had a lot of information that just made you say, man, there's so much more to the story than meets the eye, and just leaves you saying, it just leaves you scratching your head, like, how does this make sense?
Yeah, and I was definitely intrigued by your story, Mir, like I said earlier, and I knew about Aaron Hernandez's career a little bit, but behind the scenes stuff, not really. I did know about his arrest in 2013, and that was pretty much it when it comes to that. And I do remember when he passed away as well, but just to go back and look at his personal past life is mind-boggling, and what he's done is also mind-boggling. So the word of the day, folks, is mind-boggling. mind-boggling. So,
I would agree with that. And fortunately, ran in the midst of what's going on here. Oh, I don't know why this thing is acting up all of a sudden. Of course, in the midst of Hernandez's scandal, another one will be brewing in the NFL, and it will involve this guy right here, number 27 of the Baltimore Ravens, and he will be the subject of our next Keenan story when we return after the break.
you're listening to Double Header. Be sure to like and subscribe. All right, folks. So, welcome back to the next story of this episode. So, we're going to talk about another NFL player that that stirred a little bit of controversy, and we have today Ray Rice from the Baltimore Ravens. So, Amir, let me ask you this: so, when it comes to Ray Rice's career, what do you know and what do you don't know about his career, and what do you expect his story to be uh, be talked about today?
Well, I am familiar with his name 'cause, he played for the Baltimore Ravens. He made playoffs every year except for 2013, and the highlight was winning the Super Bowl. And unfortunately, as the case with Aaron Hernandez, when I think of the name Ray Rice, the first thing that comes to mind is not his career in the NFL, is what led to the end of his career.
Absolutely. And now, before we get into that, we're gonna dig a little deeper into his playing career in high school. So he attended New Wazell High School in the New York area, and his stats are this. So he played only one season, in his high school career, playing 12 games played, 122 carries, 1,192 yards, 9.8 9.8 on average, 99.9 yards per game, 82 is the longest one, and 23 touchdowns. So pretty good for his senior year resume, and he he uh, he enjoyed his time and his high school career, being a pretty successful student. So that's good there. So Amir, when you think of his high school career or his stats on this slide, so what do you see?
I mean, made the most out of 1 year. I mean, 23 touchdowns in 12 games. I mean, that's definitely going to get college recruiters, get their attention because that's he made the most of the opportunity. Excuse me, took advantage of an opportunity and made the most out of it. And look where he did 23 touchdowns.
Absolutely. Madden numbers, as they say. So, and you're absolutely right. So, going to the next file here, we got his college career at the Rutgers University, formerly known as the State University, and he attended there from '05 to 2007. And his career stats are this: 4,926 yards, 5.4 average per carry, 49 touchdowns, 324 yards, 37 receiving yards, and one touchdown as a receiver. So, and did you know that Ray Rice is the all-time leader for holds the standards for an attempts of a 910 touchdowns at 49 and 100-yard games with 25, and he is the all-time leader in the rushing percentage or rushing yards rather, right behind Terrell Willis with 3,114, and J.J. Jennings with 2,935. So Amir, when you see his college stats, what do you see?
I think very impressive college stats, and not surprised he's the leading rusher at Rutgers. And yeah, I didn't follow his career there that much. got to know more in the NFL, but I could tell he had a successful run done by that. They won a bowl game during his tenure there, and so I'd say Barry definitely. I'm going to say first round pick, go in the first round for Ray in terms of it in the NFL draft.
Yeah. Yes, that is a good prediction, and as you can see by these pictures here, he seems to be smiling, having a good time, and I saw this interview by him while he was at the University of Rutgers University, or I believe he was still at the school, or he was or he decided to go back and do an interview, but with that, I'll put that in the description link down below if you want to check out that video. It's pretty funny to look at. He brings some good insight and just has a good time doing the video. So you say with his NFL career, Amir, first round pick, led a lot of categories when it comes to rushing. And let's see if you are correct. Drum roll, please. Let's see. Okay, he was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens with the 50 pick in the second round. You were close. Second round selection. You know, still pretty good, and as you can see by his career stats overall, 1,430 carries for 6,180 yards, 369 catches for 3,034 yards for 43 touchdowns. Okay, pretty good. I like these. And played with a quarterback named Joe Flacco. So, Amir, my next question, Joe Flacco, had a still in the league today. Played a good amount of his career with the Ravens. So, what do you know about the star of Joe Flacco?
Well, both him and Ray came out, were drafted by the Ravens in '08. Of course, Ray's rookie year got to a good start, but ended on injured reserve due to a shoulder injury. But his second year was when he really took off, and that the Ravens are more known for being a running team than a passing team because Flacco's numbers, for the most part, were respectable. I mean, but didn't like put up like say numbers like say Peyton Manning or Tom Brady were playing around at the same time. But that being said, both of them contributed to the Ravens' um, playoff runs in late 2000s and early 2010s, which culminated in a Super Bowl victory in 2012.
You are absolutely right, and with his 2013 stats are this: 15 games played for Mr. Ray Rice and Joe Flacco. Being his left hand man or right hand man or however you want to say it. You know, uh, his stats are this: with 15 games played, 214 rushing attempts. Excuse me, 660 yards, 4 touchdowns. And Rice was also targeted 72 times and had 58 receptions. So, and pretty good numbers there. Pretty good numbers there. But the year prior to that, he had 1,143 yards the prior season, along with 9 touchdowns, being targeted 83 times and 61 receptions. And, won the Super Bowl in 2013 with Mr. Flacco as the quarterback. And when it comes to that Super Bowl, Uh, what do you remember when it comes to that Ravens 49ers matchup?
Well, I do know Flacco had a big game, threw 4 touchdown passes and won the MVP. Ray had put up respectable numbers. Do know he did lose a fumble, but no, that proved inconsequential because Ravens held on to win. And then, of course, that offseason, Joe was offered signed a contract, and rightfully so. I mean, just won MVP and had an amazing playoff run, and also led Ravens to the playoffs every year since he came to the league. And unfortunately, afterwards, did not play up to that contract. He had a down season. Him and the Ravens offense had a unfortunately took a step back, as did Ray Rice. And I know going into that season, Ray had an injury, and that was one reason why his 2013 season was disappointing, because prior to that, he had four consecutive 1,000-yard seasons and made the Pro Bowl three times. And to have that season was very confusing. But you figure, hey, he'll bounce back, because but little did we know.
Yeah, little did we know. You're right, Amir. Little did we know for sure that did not take place. And let's see what happens. Ooh. Okay. So on February 15th, 2014, at the Reville Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Ray Rice was with then his fiancee Janae Palmer. They got into a heated argument before entering the elevator. Palmer made the first move, gave Ray Rice a slap near the upper face area. Rice was not took, did not take kindly to that. So Rice decided to take matters into his own hands. And luckily enough, there was a camera inside that elevator that saw Rice going after Janae and ended up knocking her cold after bashing Palmer at the side railing of the elevator. And once the elevator doors open, Ray recognizes what he did and tries to uh, retrieve Palmer out the gate. And this guy walks up by and he says, "Hey, what's going on?" And you could see by the video footage that the camera caught. Yeah, the guy was a bit confused, and Janae was able to wake up after that, so that's good there. So when you see what took place in Mirror, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? So this is definitely not the way to have a good time, especially on your days off from being an NFL superstar.
Yeah, I remember when the video came out and they showed him dragging her, Ray dragging Janae out of the elevator, and I remember people were saying that he looked inebriated, and she was knocked out, and I thought, okay, maybe they just had too much to drink. But then time went on, they were saying there was an incident that they got into an argument prior to getting on the elevator, and then they say he allegedly hit her. And when it got to that point, I was like, oh boy, this. There's more to the story than meets the eye, and I feel like Ray's career is hanging in the balance.
Yeah, and think about this too, Amir, and everyone listening here. He came off a championship, season with the Ravens. What could go wrong, right? Kind of like with the with Aaron Hernandez story, had a successful, you know, career to start out with New England, and sort of what happened between the two similarities, sort of. So yeah, so let's just see, what took place in the timeline. So later that night, Rice was arrested and released due to simple assault charges on February 19th, 2014. TMZ entered the picture of footage being released to the public. So Amir, uh, first bullet point in the timeline, TMZ releases the footage. Uh, what do you think?
Yeah, that was the first footage that was released, and they showed what happened afterwards, him dragging Janae out the elevator, and that's where all like speculation, like, okay, he too much to drink. Then afterwards, the assault charges came, and then after that, they were like, okay, how does the NFL come? How do they respond to this? And that's where things really got interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And I'm just blowing this up a little bit on my end, so bear with me on that. But yeah, so anywho, so the next bullet point we have is Rice was uh, indicated on third degree assault charges, uh, ag- ag- aggravated assault, through Palmer did not testify during the hearing. The charges wound up being dropped with um, court supervised counseling ordered. Okay, so pretty simple there. So a press conference took place on May 28th, just a few months later, uh, saying an apology with the with Rice to the Baltimore Ravens organization. So when you look at these two bullet points, Amir, what is your thought process when it comes to Ray Rice and probably his penalty down the road?
I was feeling like, gosh, just when it was happening in real time, I thought this does not look good. He hit someone. I mean, then they took it to court, but then it's like, okay, there's got to be a little more discipline than that. He's got to face like a suspension, and then and when 'cause I do remember the apology, I was like, okay, made the apology, but they gotta at least take Ravens gotta take some disciplinary action, as does the NFL. Well,
Yeah, and
in that
and
way.
you are yeah, and you're right. So as you can see here, Amir, Rice has his discipline hearing with Roger Goodell, along with General Manager Ozzie Newsome, Ravens team president Dick let's say Dick Haas, and NFL lead counselor Jeff Jeff Pash, uh, an NFL VIP for labor litigation, and also in the room. Janae Rice was also during this in this hearing process. During this time. So Amir, when you have Janae Rice in the picture, or at the time, what do you thought?
It was like same case with Hernandez, fiance. She stuck by him despite what had just happened or their argument that led to this. And just you thought when this happened, maybe they weren't married. They would, I thought they would split up, but no, she's still with them.
Yeah, absolutely, and they were able to get married during what took place and what yeah, what took place and the thought process of what was going to happen to Mr. Rice. So, and as you could see here, July 24th, 2014, Ray Rice suspended 2 games on the by the NFL. Roger Goodell made that announcement, and hold on. And when it comes to August 28th, about a month later, uh, Roger Goodell says that he did not make the right call, and when he handed the 2 game suspension, and this is what he had to say on that matter, and he did not get it right, and when he beat up with the lead domestic violence policy, he sent a lengthy letter to the team's organization. The the letter of the team owners and outlined a 6 game suspension without pay for the first offense and a lifetime for the second offense, and there will be a new policy with the NFL being personnel as well during the executive and owners. So with that, and my next point, excuse me. So Roger Goodell opens up on the mistake, and I quote, "I take responsibility for both the decision and for ensuring that our actions in the future probably reflect value. I didn't get it right. Simply put, we have to do better, and we will." So Amir, when you think of these policies and new uh, higher outcomes, do you agree what Roger Goodell and the personnel has done with these changes?
I Yeah, I'm glad you asked because I know around the time, no, after Ray Rice's incident, and there were several other domestic violence incidents that took place that also led to this with Greg Hardy, Adrian Peterson, just to name a few. And then also around concurrently, the full video of what happened in the elevator came out, and that's when Goodell's image really took a hit because then and Rice's as well, and that's where you say they'll get better at it. But then there have been other instances afterwards. With, I mean, when it comes to that, excuse me, it's been mixed bag because I get back to Peterson Hardy. I mean, Peterson was able to play one game and then didn't play the rest of that season. Hardy played one game and then was on the commissioner's exempt list, and then he ultimately didn't play the rest of his that season. And as for Ray Rice, man, that really started this. It went from 2 games, 6 games to no games. He didn't play at all. Long story short, it was just not a good look for the NFL at this time, especially for Roger Goodell, who was public enemy number one, not only with the owners, but now, I mean, the fans, but now with the media. He just, he said himself, he didn't get it right. Especially once that the full video was released to the public.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was able to redeem himself, if you will. And like you said, Roger Goodell was what's the word? He was not liked by a lot of people, including the fans. Because you got to make the fans happy. You got to make the fans, like your product, like what you're presenting. Excuse me. So with that, let me just make this little bigger here on my end. But September 8th rolls around. A few months have gone by, and what do you know? Ray Rice was later suspended by the Baltimore Ravens in the National Football League, and Ray Rice was not too pleased about the outcome or of that, obviously, and he comes out and says an apology, and he says it like this. So within a press conference, showed up about uh about the conflict that took place, and he promised reporters that he was working as hard as he could to be a better human being. And I quote, "I failed miserably," Rice said, "but I wouldn't call myself a failure because I'm working myself back up." So hey, looking all right, looking better with those statements, Amir.
Yeah, and this you bring up September 8th because the incident took place in February, so not long after the 2013 season ended and carried right into the 2014 season. And that was the other thing that why this incident came under why both Goodell and Rice came under fire because it should not have dragged out that long. And they, I was hoping like just hand the suspensions out now, whatever, and that way in the off season. But of course, it didn't play out that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me ask you this before we get to our final slide here. So, uh, do you remember where you were when this incident took place, and what do you recall from following the story, if not hearing about it?
Well, yeah, I was at home when they showed the footage of what the aftermath and then the full footage in September. And when it happened, it was just like I said before, I just said this is not a good look. And sure enough, it started a it was foreshadowing what was going to be a very tumultuous offseason for the NFL because, of course, we had Greg Hardy a few months afterwards, Adrian Peterson, and even on a unrelated note, Jim Irsay got in trouble with the law, and then Robert Mathis got in trouble with PEDs and stuff. It was just the NFL, a lot of the players and owners were getting in trouble. And meanwhile, Roger Goodell, he's not handling it correctly. And at the same time, on the NBA, they're going with an issue with Adam Silver, Donald Sterling. And at that time, David Stern stepped down, and Adam Silver was the new commissioner. And the reason I bring him up because shortly after the Sterling comments became public, we all know the immortal words of Silver saying, "I'm banning Mr. Sterling for life." And I bring it up because the difference between how he handled Adam Silver, who was just named commissioner, how he handled that situation compared to Roger Goodell. I mean, more people were tuning in the NBA than NFL, and rightfully so, because the commissioners are, and then due to the fact the commissioners are handling disciplinary or how they were hand down disciplinary actions to players and owners. And in that case, Silver was winning over fans and media pundits, but Goodell was through the ire of fans and media pundits during this time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, good, good job of bringing that up, Amir, because that was going to be my next point about the Adam Silver Donald Sterling situation. Like you said, Adam Silver, new commissioner at the time, David Stern stepping down and made the right decision. And I remember following that case too. And as for me, when it comes to Ray Rice, I do remember. Actually, I'll bring this up. I do remember a few students in my class talking about this, and I just don't remember how the conversation went. But I do remember people saying like, "Oh my gosh, Ray Rice did this, and did you see it? Did you see it?" I'm like, yeah. Like, wow. So I just remember like students talking about it, and when I was in school, and lo and behold, all this took place. So with that, you happen to realize, he made an apology. Sure, that's great, but um, did he learn from it? So we'll see when it comes to the next right here. Where is he now? Despite being retired from the NFL since 2013, and the incident took place about a year later, Rice and his fiancee Janae Palmer have been married for nearly 10 years. So Palmer and Rice now married for 10 years. They have two kids, and Raven and Jalen, who are 11 and 7, recently moved back to Baltimore area full time, and now Rice coaches two youth football teams. The one SU and the 7U Pinkville Wildcats. So hey, he definitely learned his lesson. He apologized and you know decided to move forward from it. Amir.
Yeah, and again, I bring up Greg Hardy because again, that was the one with Burley got what that took place around the same time. Just on the difference between those two, it's just I feel like he should have gotten another chance. I just feel like that being Ray Rice, but I feel like his last season and also the repercussions of the February 2014 incident was just loomed too large for anyone to sign him. Also, NFL taking a hit PR wise. I feel like that was the reason why he never got was never offered another team gave him a chance. But I will say he did turn around and hasn't been in any trouble since. So there's that. So I'm giving credit for actually practicing what he preached.
Absolutely. And you and I talked about this the other day, Amir. Just to be, just to be still married with the person you've had a conflict of interest with is still unbelievable. And you would probably think divorce papers, separation. you know, who gets what, and just to see that is great. And he goes on to say, about his life here. So, and I quote, "Raising my kids here, I call it a Super Bowl, but it will be a very surreal moment," Rice said. "I want people to really see me. I'm still standing. I still I'm still going to be strong. I'm still going to help as many people as I can. I'm still going to be a man. I'm still going to be the man in the community." So when you see that quote, Amir, I know it's self-explanatory. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, because I do know after he was handed his suspension, he said he would dedicate to doing better and stuff. And sure enough, he did. And it's just, unfortunately, when we think of Ray Rice, this is the incident that comes to mind. But lost and all that, he did have a great career in the NFL. I mean, gosh, accomplished more than, say, Aaron did. He played longer. But either way, it's just, yeah, I mean, like I said, he hasn't gotten any trouble since then, and he's turning around, and also give credit to his wife or fiance at the time for sticking by him. It's just 'cause when this happened, you thought, well, this is NFL career, you thought that relationship is done, but not the case. They're married and have two kids.
Yeah, yeah. As you can see by this picture down below here, they seem to be happy and seem to be doing well. And he learned from his mistakes. And um, so he had this. So going back to the quotes here, so he had this to say when it came to his retirement life and his well being as a person. So every time I stepped on the field, I gave it my all. I couldn't I couldn't say the same thing for life. Now I'm trying to be the best version of me. So that's really good that he said that and took ownership to that. And ownership would be the key word here.
Hmm.
So he goes on to say, he talks about how he wants to be remembered and within his legacy and persevering throughout his past mistakes. So I knew it would be it would be hard to forgive me. But the one thing I have been consistent with is that I was going to be better. I'm not going to be a victim of my past, Rice said. My legacy won't be won't be domestic violence. My legacy will be what I become after. And with that, that's the cherry on top storybook ending right there. So shout
Hmm.
out to Ray Rice and what he has accomplished, and what he you know what what he decided to do with the situation. And like you said, Amir, I do think Ray Rice should have gotten another chance in the NFL. He could have done some great things with the stats. He could have done some things throughout the community. And maybe Roger Goodell could have said, you know what, maybe I should have gotten this guy another chance, but we'll never know that, unfortunately. But so yeah, with that, that will be the end of my story, my presentation of Ray Rice. So looking at these two stories, Amir, what are or similarities between the two?
Again, we both, in this case, we saw their rise in ball in real time because they great careers that were on the cusp of being like Hall of Fame type careers of playing for two perennial Super Bowl contenders, the Ravens and the Patriots. But then, unfortunately, when we think the name Aaron Hernandez and Ray Rice, it's not what they did in the NFL, it's what they did off the field. And for Hernandez, it was murder, and Ray Rice domestic violence. And then, lo and behold, both of their careers, their high points and low points came at a crossroads at the same time. And I will say for Ray, it while it's not going to erase what he did, he's doing better at life. Whereas Aaron, it just his fall from grace was just unfortunately led to his demise at his own hands.
Yeah, that's a good point because Aaron Hernandez is not being on this earth anymore. Ray Rice is, and
Mm.
he went through some trouble, more trouble stuff than Rice did. But with that, and going back to the PowerPoint, and I forgot to bring this up as well during the penalty side. He was founded not guilty on his charges, so that's good there. He's able to get off scot free, and people were able to forgive him, as they all say, and everybody deserves a second chance in one way or another. I think it all depends on how you prove yourself, and how you define yourself as a person, and what can you do better, what can you improve on, and how you can come by it, and not only for yourself, and if you have kids, if you have a wife, and so that's just my opinion on that. And yeah, those were really fascinating stories between both sides, and I can't wait for the next episode to come out.
Yeah, and also getting back to Aaron Hernandez, I mentioned it was the Boston County Jail, it was Bristol County Jail. So, but anyway, but yeah, I just and thing I didn't not come expect you got a one story that ended in tragedy, one that had a turnaround. Like I said, it just when it comes to fallouts and careers, it's how they respond to it. Like Ray, I say to his credit, has handled it he's handled it with grace. He knows he messed up, but he's done the things, done everything right to rebuild his image. Whereas Hernandez, not so much. But it's just the thing we have noticed in this podcast that we getting into NFL 'cause we watch this and we can follow it for a long time. We've seen the good and the bad. It's just it's how they respond to it. Well, the players and the
Absolutely.
coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's another long episode, folks, but that's okay. We can talk about NFL stuff all day if we can talk 3 to 4 or 5 hours a day if we want to. I mean, but we like I said before, and I'll say it once and I'll say it again. We both enjoy talking about NFL in general, and we're blessed to give you this type of content. And if you seem to like it, be sure to like and subscribe for more, and be sure to follow our link in the description box down below. And with that, uh, and with Tina Costain, Amir Daniels, this has been another episode of Double Header, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, folks.
See you on the next episode.